as we get closer to the draft, I want to get into as much draft stuff as possible, especially looking at some of the top prospects. And this one came back for his senior year. He just wanted to win a championship, and he did that. But he also won the Heisman Trophy. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media, coming at you today, doing a prospect profile, draft profile, whatever. I did one last week on Trevor Lawrence, and I'm gonna have it. Look, we are, as I'm recording this, January 26th. The draft, I believe, it's always the last week of April. So we still got quite a bit of time, but so many prospects. I got to be cracking down on these. And I'm probably not going to do every prospect that announces, because I mean, I can't do every prospect, but some of the big name prospects. And I did Trevor Lawrence last week. I'll get to Fields. I'll get to Jones. I'll get to some of the other Bama players like Najee Harris. I know Fields went to Ohio State. I'm just trying to let you guys know that I don't think he went to Alabama. I was just mentioning him because he's the second best quarterback in this draft class. But today, we want to look at this year's Heisman winner in 2020, Devonta Smith from Alabama. Came back really just to win a championship, but he ended up winning a Heisman. He's a wide receiver, wears number 6 for the Crimson Tide. One of the many Tide players. They're losing quite a bit. One of the many to declare for the draft last week. Um, so, and he came back, and for good reason. Can you blame him for coming back instead of going last year with Tua, with Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, and I think they also lost guys like Josh Jacobs and Damian Harris. Um, and again, I just mentioned Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. Need I say more about Bama's receiving core the past couple years? This is why he came back. Devonta Smith had a great season, better than we expected. First off, I think everyone didn't really see this coming from Alabama until when they started playing. Right, they start playing, and it's like, hold on, we could be seeing something great with Alabama, and Devonta Smith is just an example of that. He starts out as a freshman in 2017, part of the whole Tua class. Judy, Ruggs, Waddle. Well, Waddle came in the year after, actually. He's another player that declared, but we're not talking about Waddle right now. We're talking about Devonta Smith. He had, as a freshman, 8 receptions for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. 8 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 160 yards. That's pretty good for a freshman. He didn't see a whole lot of playing time. Now, one play that stuck out to me as a freshman, obviously second and 26, but if I have to go outside of that, on the road at Mississippi State, remember, Jalen Hurts was starting that year. That's the whole deal behind Tua, is he came in to replace Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts found Devonta Smith in the final minutes of the game. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what the score was, but they were down by a couple points or whatever, or and they needed a touchdown big time late in the game. They were struggling a bit, had a hard time moving the ball on offense. And Jalen Hurts found Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith breaks a tackle, runs to the end zone, touchdown Alabama. And then, of course, later in the year, we know the whole second and 26 against Georgia, game-winning touchdown pass to win the championship. And here we are 3 years later. The rest is pretty much history, right? We talk so much about Tua and how he threw the game winner, instead of talking we mentioned Devonta Smith when we saw him, and here he is, Devonta, who caught the game-winning pass. But that was about it, right? That was really all we said about Devonta Smith, the guy that caught the game-winning pass, right? And then year 2 for him, right? He's pretty much a full-time starter at receiver. Had 42 receptions in 2018 for 693 yards and 6 touchdowns. And it just, I mean, again, the rest is history pretty much, you know? Where was I? Sorry about that. Oh, yes. So here we have Devonta Smith. Let's start over here. 8 receptions as a freshman in 2017. Only 8. Obviously, one of those being the game winner, second in 26. He had 3 touchdowns in total for that year. He had 8 receptions, 3 touchdowns. The receptions, 160 yards. The longest one he had was that game-winning touchdown pass, which was 41 yards. And then, of course, you see a lot more of him. And it was one of those things that, for Devonta Smith, you saw more and more of him as the years went on. He didn't go to last year's draft with Ruggs and Judy. He didn't. Because we were talking so much about Henry Ruggs. He's the fastest receiver in the draft last year. And then Jerry Jeudy's got the best hands in the business. And Devonta Smith looked at that, not out of jealousy or anything, but he says, I can do better. Those guys were great. And I was great with them. But they were the guys that helped the team last year. Congrats to them, but let's come back. And I'm going to do something. I want to win a championship with the team. And I need a breakout year. And by God, did he have a breakout year. He won the Heisman. Looking back at this past year, forget about 17, 18, 19, 2020. They always, when they draft prospects, they want to look at what have you done recently. What's the last thing you did? What's, overall is great, but, as a senior, let's look at this. This is what you have in a Heisman winner. 117 receptions. 1,856 yards. On average, he'd get about 15 yards. That's a little less than what he had last year, but, I don't know what it is. 23 touchdowns for him. 23 touchdowns. The longest was 66. Man. It's crazy. 23 touchdowns for the Heisman winner. He had 3 touchdowns in the championship game against Ohio State. 12 receptions, 3 touchdowns. On average, he'd get about 18 yards after a catch. 215 yards in total in that game. The longest was 44 as far as a catch for him. Or I guess maybe that's the longest touchdown reception he had. I'm not sure. The most he had in any game this year, though, was against Mississippi State, and they won that game 41-0. 53 was his longest. He had 4 touchdowns, on average about 18.5 yards a reception. So, I mean, bottom line is we saw what he did last year at Alabama. We saw him win the Heisman. We saw him win the championship. He was the championship offensive MVP. Here's his accolades, people. Obviously, that national championship, right? Let me see. He started out, won against Clemson in that Sugar Bowl. Didn't really do a whole lot. Then he has the game winner in that championship game. Wins the Orange Bowl the next year. Then they lose that 44-16 game, blah, blah, blah. Last year, I mean, he had a good game in the Citrus Bowl, I think. It was still more Judy or whatever in that game because they were still there. Dude, this guy was the offensive MVP in both the Rose Bowl and the national championship this year. Back-to-back bowl games. And I guess if you want to count the national championship as a bowl game, I don't know. Back-to-back games where you're the offensive MVP, that's impressive. And you're a Heisman winner. I think he was also the winner of the Maxwell Award. Yep. Walter Camp, Biletnikoff, Paul Hornung Award. AP College Football Player of the Year. Sporting News College Football Player of the Year. Basically, anything that's Player of the Year or best in the game, he got it, right? He got it. It was deservedly so. He led in touchdowns, he led in receptions, and he came back for his senior year for good purpose. So, what are you getting out of Devonta Smith? A guy with great hands. I'm telling you that right now. He's going to be great on the next level. Is he going to be a day one starting wide receiver? He should be. I think he'd be stupid not to. I mean, look at everything he did for Alabama, and this is a great prospect to keep your eye on, definitely. Um, I'm still working on my mock draft, so I don't know where I'm gonna put him, but I'd say he'd be a top 10 pick, definitely. Um, what was really cool, him winning the Heisman, was it's not just a quarterback award. There's been a lot of quarterbacks to win it, but yeah, I remember after Burrow won it last year, we were sitting there saying, it's a quarterback award now. You give it to quarterbacks. And even this year, people were like, oh, it's a quarterback award, and I guess we got to give it to Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Devonta Smith sitting right there. Right there. The virtual Heisman ceremony, and got the Heisman. So shout out to Devonta Smith. Good luck to him and all the other prospects on the next level in the NFL. Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please hit the like and subscribe button for more sports content. Please subscribe to Valor Sports Media. Comment down below what you think about Devonta Smith and the historic season he just had, where you think he's going to go in the draft, and stay tuned for more draft coverage and more sports content. Got baseball and basketball. Basketball coming up on March Madness, and spring volleyball, going on. We got baseball coming up in a couple months. And so there's a lot to take care of as we close the football season. So anyway, please like and subscribe for more sports content. And until next time, Valor Sports Media checking out. Y'all have a good day, and roll tide.